Darlene Collins. She is the founder of Be Aware and Beware. She is here to share how drug addiction has affected her family specifically. So Darlene, welcome.
It worked before, it really did. No, it's over there. Oh well. All right, well, thanks. It's good to be here with you today. I came here to tell you that I love you. And I know that might sound crazy because we don't really know each other, but I do. And God loves you too. And because I care about you, I came to warn you about a monster. I came to tell you a story that just might save your life. This story is about my son, Brian. He was born September 5th, 1991. We all marveled at what a beautiful baby he was. This is him on the day of his baby dedication at church. Of course, as a toddler, he loved his birthdays at Chuck E. Cheese. He liked to play superhero. He enjoyed all the family vacations. That's him on the right. We went up north to Grandma's house every summer to do a little fishing. He really enjoyed fishing. He loved pet birds. This was his pet bird, Rainbow. And this is Sunny. And a couple of parrots he found to hang around with down in Mexico. On Wednesday nights, he went to Awana. That's a church group. This is him when he was 11. He was baptized. Actually, he was baptized in Southbrook. We used to attend Southbrook until God called us elsewhere. He did karate for a bit, and of course loved riding his bike. He was in Boy Scouts, and this day was really cool because they got to do the color guard at a Bucks game, so they were down on the floor with those tall guys. Like you, he loves hanging out with his friends. This is when they were in their long hair stage. Brian on the right. And of course he liked to play video games. He was a skateboarder, and he was very diligent. He worked very, very hard to get every trick just perfect. This day it was during the Olympics, and they decided to do some synchronized skateboarding for him. He played bass in a band. That's him on the left. He knew how to make us laugh. He liked to joke around and clown around. He ran track. Couple years in middle school. It was a real joy to watch him run because he was the fastest kid in his class, and so he won most of his races. He played football a couple of years for Franklin. Because he was so fast, he was a running back. And it was quite thrilling to watch him play football. We even got to see a couple of 80-yard touchdowns that he made. He was strong, or I was a lot lighter. We spent many, many summer days out on the boat with his friends, wakeboarding and water skiing and tubing. He liked to ride the ATV. He was on the rock climbing club for New Berlin West. He worked at Stonefire for a bit, which was great for us because we got to play all the non-ticket games for free. In school, his favorite subjects were astronomy and psychology and medical terminology. And the day he graduated, we were so very, very proud. Then he went off to college. His first semester at school, he got pretty good grades, all B's and one C. Others go back to. But behind these smiles, there was trouble brewing. You see, in middle school, things took a turn for the worse when he started experimenting with drugs, just pot. Now they say marijuana is a gateway drug, and that's what happened. He eventually tried many, many other drugs. He got into trouble at school and with the police. And there were some close calls with overdoses that landed him in the hospitals. He did an intensive outpatient drug treatment program, and things got better for a while. But then he started abusing prescription drugs like Oxy and Vicodin, and that eventually led him to try heroin. And that was it. Once and you're done. Heroin takes over your body and it possesses your mind, and he was now a heroin addict. He had a habit every day. See, drugs change your brain chemistry. You end up needing the drug more than you even need food. With heroin, you have painful withdrawal symptoms just hours after your last fix, and you need more of the drug just to feel normal. Now, you don't want to be a heroin addict. You feel bad and guilty and shameful every time you shoot up. You cry. The drug makes you feel very depressed. Your spirit wants to be free of this drug, but your body's trapped and your mind's all messed up and you can't see any way out. You feel like there's no hope. You ache to be free of this drug, but you don't know how to stop. That's how Brian felt. He felt like ripping through his skin daily, and he was constantly depressed. And all that was after only 3 months of doing heroin. Then on January 15th, 2011, he wanted to be free of this monster so badly that he took his own life. In a note he left, he said, "I messed up my life bad with drugs. You can't even understand. I love my family, but I can't take life anymore." My son, at the age of 19, is now dead because of drugs. This is what I have left. I won't get to see him graduate from college or start a career or walk down the aisle. I'll never get to hold his children, what would have been my grandchildren. I'll never get to hug him again here. I'll always be a grieving mother. Drugs stole all that from him and from us, and now we're living in the nightmare. And it's a nightmare we don't get to wake up from. Heroin and drugs left parents devastated. This is the last Mother's Day I'll ever be with all of my children. Drugs left Dad wondering why he'll never get to see his son anymore. They left a little sister who wails and cries in her bed at night because she wants her brother back. Drugs left 2 older sisters with big holes in their heart from missing their brother and their best friend. Drugs left a little brother who just wants to hang out with his big bro again. They left a grandma who longs to hug her grandson. They left an aunt who can't stop thinking about her nephew. Drugs left many, many friends and family sad and missing him every single minute of every single day. You see, what you do affects other people. Your life is intertwined with many, many other lives. So remember, what you do can impact a whole world, whether it be for good or for bad. Heroin is a killer, like you've heard, and it's not just in the movies, it's in our backyard. And it's killing so many young people right now. But like you heard, heroin addiction doesn't start with heroin. It usually starts with alcohol or marijuana. You see, you might take a drink, and then you take a few more drinks. Or you might smoke a little pot, and then you smoke a little more pot. And then you might try other drugs. And then you might try prescription drugs that aren't prescribed to you. And then all of a sudden you're abusing drugs. You're taking them too often, or you're taking too many of them. And then your body begins to need that drug. And like you heard, it gets really expensive if you're doing pills. And then you turn to heroin, and that's it, just once and you're done. Immediately, you want more and more of that drug, and you keep wanting it. And now, you're a heroin addict. And addiction just means that your body needs this drug. Even though it's not good for you, your body now can't function without it. And like you heard, heroin is an opiate. Other opiates out there are things like morphine, codeine, oxycodone, Dilaudid, methadone, Darvocet, Percocet, Vicodin, Suboxone, hydrocodone, fentanyl. These pain medicines or painkillers, they're just heroin in pill form. So if you guys hear these names, you run away. You run far, far away, because opiates are very, very dangerous. The CDC has declared prescription drug and heroin abuse an epidemic. I'm here to warn you that the pills and the heroin, they're out there. They're at the colleges. They're at the high schools. They're even at middle schools. And they're be at the parties you're at. And there's drug dealers all over our city. They're in West Dallas and Hales Corners and here in Franklin. And dealers love suburban kids because they have money, because they don't carry guns. And dealers will actively pursue kids to get them hooked. That's what happened to my friend's boy. The dealer gave him some stuff, and then he said, "Hey, my car broke. I need a ride. If you give me a ride, I'll give you some free stuff." And he kept doing that for like 2 weeks till he was hooked. Oh, I'm going back. Here's just a can you go back one more? Thank you. With heroin, it only takes once. You do it once, and you can become an addict once and you're done. With pain medicines, it only takes about 2 weeks to become addicted to those. And maybe if one doesn't get you, it might be the second one, or third one, or fourth one, or 44th one. See, if you keep drinking or keep abusing drugs, you will become a drug addict. So you're gambling with your life if you're gambling with drugs. And once it's got you, it never lets go. Alcohol, drugs, heroin, they don't care if you're rich, or they don't care if you're famous, or an athlete, or how old you are, or how much longer you're supposed to live. Drug addiction is a disease, and it can strike anyone who's doing drugs. And I know some of you are thinking it can't happen to me, or it can't happen to my family. I'm here to tell you that it can. This is a picture of Ryan in front of the middle school. Look how young and innocent he looks. This is also the time he started experimenting with drugs. Just pot to have fun and be cool. He didn't realize where pot would lead, because I'm sure if he knew it was going to lead to his death, he never would have did it in the first place. Here Brian's graduating from high school. He had the whole world in front of him, and his whole life ahead of him. The picture on the left was taken at his graduation party 7 months before his death. The picture on the right was taken 2 weeks before his death, after only 3 months of doing heroin. Can you see the difference? You see, there's a war going on for your soul. And drugs and alcohol are just some of the weapons that Satan uses. There's other weapons that the devil uses, things like depression, overeating, over anything, telling you to be a cutter, making you feel unpopular or unloved or hopeless, or telling you that sex will make you feel loved, or that pornography is okay. And then there's the lies that the devil whispers in your ear. Things like, "You're no good. Oh, everyone's doing it. Oh, have just one. It'll feel so good. You're so depressed. You may as well end it all." These certainly are not thoughts from God. And when you're doing drugs or alcohol, you're no longer in control of your mind, and you are giving the devil and ask for permission to take over your mind and to fill it with unhealthy thoughts. The Bible says that the devil is a liar and a thief, and he wants to destroy you. And he will use drugs and other evils to do that. You need to be aware of the devil and his schemes and his tactics because he's our enemy. 1 Peter 5, 8 and 9 says, be controlled, self-controlled and alert, because your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in faith. You see, we're not immune because we're Christians. It might even be the opposite. He doesn't want us to go on for God. So he attacks us. So you need to stand in the faith. See, the devil wants to destroy you, but God, oh, how he loves you. He made you special and unique, and he loves you so much. And he has a plan and a purpose for your life. He has great plans for you. You have so much to live for, so much potential, so much to do. God says in Jeremiah, he says, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to give you hope and a future. See, God is love. In God, there is hope. And Jesus already won the victory when he died on the cross and rose from the dead. And the same power that raised Jesus from the dead can be yours. He can help you with whatever problems you're struggling with. All you have to do is ask him. He's ready and waiting to have a relationship with you. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Jesus came to give you life and to give you eternal life. And he doesn't want you to have a plain old normal life. He wants you to have an abundant life, a full life, a radical and an extreme life, a way above normal life. See, if you give your life to him, he'll give you his abundant life. It says, I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. God's the only one that can fill the emptiness that you feel. Other things, alcohol, drugs, sex, video games, spouses, friends, will never be able to satisfy you. God is the only one that can fill that hole in your heart. Only in him will you find true hope and true strength and true power and true love. I'm standing here today in the pain of losing my son and can share this story with you only because God's power is working in me and giving me strength and hope. My God is big enough. He's big enough to get me through this nightmare. He's big enough to get you through your nightmares. He can make you strong enough to stand against the temptations of the world. Jeremiah 32 says, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is anything too hard for me? You hang on to that. Now, parents, I'd just like to talk to you for a minute. About what you can do to help your kids. My friends and I came up with 7 tips for parents. 1, educate yourself and communicate with your children. Talk about it with them. Keep talking about it with them. Role play situations with your kids, like what they might do if they find themselves at a party being pressured to drink or try drugs. Come up with a plan. Have a code word so that if your kids are in a situation that they aren't comfortable with, that they could text you this code word, and then you can call them and say, hey, you got to come home now. And then your kids won't look uncool because they have to leave. 2, realize that your kids may be doing drugs. Don't think that they won't do drugs, because they probably will. And it often starts in middle school. And please, be especially careful if there's addiction problems in your family, because addictive tendencies do run in families. My 3 oldest kids all ended up having problems with alcohol and drugs. If it's in your genes, you are more prone to becoming a drug addict or an alcoholic. 3, trust your kids but verify. Be the parent, not their friend. Check up on your kids and their plans and their sleepovers. Call the other parents or an ex to find out if they're going to be home. Find out what the other parents' rules are and what their curfews are. And get in your kids' business. Snoop, peek, look. Check their pockets, their room, their phone, their Facebook and internet activities, and know their friends. And 4, let them know that you're there for them. Tell them specifically that they can come to you with any problem, whether it be drugs or pregnancy or cutting or bullying or suicidal thoughts. And also let them know that if they call you for a ride home because either they're drunk or their ride is drinking or on drugs, that you'll come and get them and give them a ride home without consequences so that they know they can get a safe ride. 5, let your kids, if your kids get into trouble with the school or the athletic department or the police, let them suffer the consequences. Don't try to bail them out or try to get their sentence reduced. Let them learn that there are consequences for bad choices. And I know this is really, really hard, but it's better in the long run because it's better for them to suffer smaller consequences as a child in your house than to suffer more severe and sometimes deadlier consequences as an adult. 6, drug test your kids. Why not? Randomly drug test them. It'll help you figure out if there's a problem. It'll make your kids think twice before doing drugs. And it'll also give your kids an out with their friends because now they can say no to drugs because my mom drug tests me. And you can get drug tests at Walgreens, but there's a place online, medicaldisposables.us, where you can get them real cheap. You can get a whole pack of them for cheap. And 7, keep track of your prescriptions. Kids don't have to go far to get drugs. Often they're getting their first drugs from your very own medicine cabinet, or they're getting them from their friend's medicine cabinet, or they're getting them from their grandparents' probably counter, because they probably leave their medicines on the counter. So lock up your prescriptions, check the grandparents, make sure those are maybe locked up, in control, and make sure to properly dispose of old and unused prescriptions. And kids can be really creative and get prescriptions refilled all on their own. So you can let your pharmacist know that you want to be the only one that can pick up your prescriptions. Because otherwise kids can go, they could call it in and go there and pick it up themselves and you know nothing about it. And finally, watch for the warning signs that your child might be doing drugs. Things like significant mood changes, rebellious attitudes. Kids doing drugs tend to become very disrespectful and paranoid and angry and defiant. They might start skipping school and not doing well in school. They'll lack interest in activities like sports. Like Brian only did football for 2 years. He quit after 2 years. He could have been a football star, but drugs won that battle. They don't want to spend time with the family or do family activities. They stay away from home more. You might see a change in their friends. They might now have friends that you don't like or don't know. Trust your instincts because they're usually right. You might see physical changes, runny noses, red eyes, dilated pupils. With opiates, with pills or heroin, they get very, very tiny pinhole pupils. So check the pupils. Changes in sleeping patterns. You might see hygiene changes, changes in appetite, and money issues. They might have no money, they might want to borrow money, they might start selling their stuff. You might have money go missing or items go missing. And you might find paraphernalia, lighters. Kids not smoking, they don't need a lighter. Like you heard, you might see eye drops, you might see foil, baggies, spoons. They crush up pills with spoons. I used to have no spoons in my drawer. And empty pen tubes. They take the ink part out of the pen and they would use the tube to snort drugs. So if you see empty pen tubes, that might be a sign. Now, I told you I was here because I love you and I care about you, and I hope you believe me now. I also hope you'll learn from my son's death. Please, if you never tried drugs or alcohol, don't. It's not worth it. Once, and you could be done. Now, if you've tried drugs or alcohol or are doing them occasionally, please stop. You're not invincible. Drugs and alcohol will eventually suck the life right out of you. I'm sure Brian never thought that drugs would have such power over him, but they did. And if you keep using drugs and alcohol, before you know it, they'll possess your mind and your body, and you'll be trapped. So please stop. Some of you might already be trapped. If you are, or if you're feeling very depressed or suicidal, please get help. Tell someone immediately, because tomorrow could be too late. Tell your parents, a counselor, a teacher, a doctor, a pastor, your youth group leaders. And know that there's hope. There's places and people out there that'll help. There's lots of people right here and out there that can help. And if you have a friend who is suicidal or doing drugs, please tell someone. By telling, you could be saving their life. If you ever hear somebody say, I want to kill myself, take it seriously and tell an adult. Please, if you have a problem or know someone who does, don't keep it a secret. Don't keep it hidden and in the dark. You bring it to the light, because the truth will set you free. My son kept it hidden. We didn't know he was doing heroin. We didn't know he was depressed. If only he had told us, perhaps we could have helped him, and he'd still be here today. So admitting you have a problem is the first step to healing. And if you're struggling right now with an addiction or know someone who does, please know that recovery is possible. I'd like you to meet some of my other children. This is my second oldest daughter. She's a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. Her alcohol and drug abuse got really bad after Brian died, but she went into a treatment center, and after she got out, she got a sponsor, and she went to lots of AA meetings, and in July, she'll celebrate 4 years of being clean and sober. She gave me my first grandbaby, and she's about to give me my second grandbaby. So, this is my oldest daughter, who was a highly functioning alcoholic. But again, the abuse got really, really bad after Brian. And after a crisis in her life, she started going to AA meetings, and she got a sponsor. And she is celebrating 2.5 years of being clean and sober. She's now a sponsor helping other people. And this is my youngest son, Andrew. He graduated from Franklin in 2013 and just finished up some schooling at WCTC. And we're proud of him for avoiding addictions. He made a commitment to God. He made a choice to follow Jesus. He made a choice to stay away from drugs. It hasn't been easy for him. He sometimes got made fun of at school. But he was committed to walking with God, and he's growing in Jesus. And they asked me to tell you all that recovery is possible. If you want it, you can have it, you can do it. See, in God, there is hope. And I'd like to thank him for saving my girls and my youngest son. Your life is important to me. Please, think about what you're doing. It's all up to you. Make good choices so you can live a life free of alcohol and drug abuse. I have a table out there, and if you stop by, I've got a picture, a little bit of Brian's story on the back that you can take. I've got bookmarks that have the 7 tips for parents and warning signs on them that you can take. And I have bracelets there. They say, be aware and beware, drugs destroy. And on the inside, it says, in memory of Brian. So you can get those out there. And now, I'd like to ask you to just do one thing for me and my family. Please remember my son. His name was Brian James Davis, and he would want you to live strong, live long, and live free from drugs and alcohol. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Darlene. It's now our pleasure to welcome Samantha up on the stage. She's a young woman who'd like to share her story, her testimony of recovering from addiction. So, welcome.